This video is brought to you by Newport Propane. If you'd like to learn more about Newport Propane, you can visit them at their website or on their Facebook page, linked in the description below. Hey everybody, this is Alex Gomes here. Going to do a race recap for IKS Race number 1 in 2018. I know in the past with these race recaps I usually do them through Facebook Live, but I figured since I'm using my GoPro for every race this year on the kart, I'll do these recorded so that I can weave some race footage within the video. So let's get started. This was the first race of the year for me, and it happened to be at Canyon, New Hampshire, and I love Canyon as a track. I only got to go there once last year, and I didn't have the setup quite right. I was too short in the gearing, topping out the RPMs way too soon, so it was great to go back this year with some proper gearing and actually give it a real shot. Practice 1, not too eventful. Practice 2, did some drafting practice with Rich Hemingway, which was helpful to determine if my gearing was right, and I think it was, but after practice 2, I realized that I had an oil leak, and it was all over the back of the motor, sliding down the plate that the motor sits on. And I was like, uh-oh. I know a common problem with these motors, these World Formula motors, is that the side gasket cover tends to fail, and then your oil leaks everywhere. I tried at first changing the oil so I knew that it had the amount of oil it needs in there, and just tightening the side cover bolts. Went out and qualified, and during qualifying had a bit of an event where I was running side by side with Rodrigo, and somebody else got under him going into the chicane part, and they ended up getting together, sliding up into me. I didn't get hit, but to avoid the two of them I had to go off in the grass. For like all of 2 or 3 seconds I got back on the track, started going again. Kart's all dirty. It only takes one little trip off the track to get the car all full of dust and dirt and grime. I wasn't really able to be in a pack for the rest of qualifying. I didn't really have that much drafting help. However, I was still able to put together a lap that was good enough for second place, which is pretty cool. After qualifying, oil was still leaking out of the side cover. It's just like, I gotta change that side cover gasket. I didn't have a side cover gasket. I had to buy one off of Jeff Guttison. Thank you very much. The thing about taking the side cover off is that you have to cut the seal that goes through one of the head bolts and the side cover bolts. For those of you that don't know, there's a seal on the motor so that if you ever have to take the motor apart for any reason, you have to break that seal. We're not allowed to modify our motors at all, and that's what that seal does. It makes it so that you have to have that seal to race. If you don't have that seal while you're racing, it could be an indication that you cut it so you could open up the motor to do modifications, and can't do that. The thing is, we don't have seals. Engine builders have seals, and some of the leagues have seals. So I probably had about 2 hours to take that side cover off, take the gasket off, clean everything, clean the old gasket off with a razor blade, and then put it all back together with the new seal. And you know, something I'd never done before, something I had to go near Mike's pit to do it so that he could check it after I was done doing the job and sealing it back up with the NHKA seal of approval. Once I had everything back together, I remounted the motor, I realigned the chain, I put oil back in it, you know, made sure it started and ran, and I didn't see any leaks coming out while it was running. And I probably had about 10 minutes to spare. Now it's not a very long job, but for somebody who's never done it before, you know, I wanted to make sure I was carefully doing everything right. I'm not going to screw anything up. Make sure there's no gasket left on the motor. So going into the race, like I said, I was starting P2, so front row outside. Pretty nice. Going into turn 1, when the green flag dropped, we were 4 wide. And I did not know this until I watched Ken Repke's drone video later on. He took a video of us going into turn 1. And when I was driving, I was pretty sure we were 3 wide. It was myself, Evan, and then somebody on the inside of him. But I did not know there was a guy on the outside of me as well, attempting to try to go around the outside of me. It was funny because as soon as I saw the guy going on the inside of Evan, I pointed at Evan. I'm like, whoa, over there's a dude. And he looks, and then we go around the corner, he gives me a thumbs up, and then after the race he's telling me, hey, thanks for telling me. I didn't know he was there. I was just going to like turn right into him if you didn't tell me that. No problem. I just didn't want a big 3-car pileup going into 1. Myself and Evan checked out from the rest of the field, and then Rodrigo, who started back in like 16th place, came through the field and was on my bumper on like lap 2. I couldn't believe it. We were going down the backstretch, and I checked to my right, and there's a cart, and I'm like, oh, it's Dave, it's Taylor, it's somebody. And no, it's Rodrigo, number 17. I'm like, oh, all right. He's got some speed under him. So for the longest time in this 20-minute race, for the first 10 minutes or so, myself, Evan, and Rodrigo were just dicing for first place. I would say Evan held first place for the most part, but there were times where myself and Rodrigo were able to get ahead of him. And then halfway through the race, maybe a little farther into it, going into turn 1, Rodrigo was in front of me. I was on the inside of Evan, and then I hit the curbing at the apex of the corner. Now the curbing at this track is made for cars, it's not made for go-karts, so when you hit it with a go-kart, it's like hitting a jump. And when I landed, it was pretty hard. Evan ended up going into the grass on the outside to avoid, me from being all squirrely on the track. And for the rest of the race, it felt like I was way down on power. And at the time, I had no idea what it was. Evan, like I said, he went in the grass. He was behind me. He had no problems just going right behind me on the next straightaway. And he took off to chase Rodrigo. And I spent the rest of the race just driving by myself for the next, 8 to 7 minutes or so. Across the line, 3rd place. I'll take it for the day that I had with the engine problems and oil leaks, and then the hitting the curbing in turn 1. Thankfully, the 3 of us had built enough of a gap to 4th place to where I could go around the track slow and still hold down 3rd place at the very end. When we came back in and weighed up and we did post-race tech inspection, I think Rich Hemingway saw that my clutch was all like loosey-goosey, like the snap ring wasn't there, and I figured maybe that's what happened. When I came back down and landed, maybe it was so violent that the snap ring popped out of place or broke. I'm still not sure yet. I haven't taken it apart yet to figure it out, but if you can go with your hands and just wiggle that the clutch drum all around like it should. And you can see, that ain't supposed to wobble that much. Hopefully that's it. Hopefully that's why I was down on power. Maybe the clutch was just not sitting on there right and just bogging the motor. Yeah, came home with 3rd place after a very hard day of wrenching. There are many people I want to thank for helping me out this weekend, because I needed a whole host of help when it came to a lot of things. I want to thank Rich for helping me put the weight on the underside of my seat that took longer than it should have, but we got it done. I want to thank Dave Nadu for giving me a little bit of advice on taking the motor apart so I could put that new engine gasket on. I want to thank Jeff Guttison for selling me the gasket itself. I still owe you $10, I'll get that to you. I want to thank Mike for resealing the motor with an NHKA seal. I want to thank Taylor and some of the, DR karting guys. I can't quite remember what your name is. But you guys, helped me put the cart back on the truck after I was all set, and then the guys who helped me take it off, I appreciate that as well. I'm sure there's guys I'm missing, but you guys, the karting community up here in the Northeast is so very strong, and I love how we all help each other out, and I can't thank the people who helped me out enough. Like, it really, when we're all scrambling, trying to get everybody's cart ready together for the next session, it means a lot to me when somebody takes time out of their cart and their things that they have to do to help me out. So thank you very much, guys. And of course, I want to thank my sponsor, Newport Propane, for supporting me through the weekend and supporting me for the rest of the season. So that's it. I hope you guys have a good day. I'm going to try to make the race this Sunday at F1 Outdoors. Sorry, X1 Outdoors. See you guys there. Have a good one.